So how's everything at the operative level?
Yeah, I'm
Please come to order. Our devotional exercise will be conducted by the Reverend Jeff and Mayor of Christ Episcopal Church of Montpelier. Welcome.
Morning.
Thank you for having us here. So I am down the street at Christ Episcopal Church, where we've been hosting the Good Samaritan Havens Day Warming Space all winter, which has been not easy, but heart-filling. And we hosted at the Unitarian Church in Montpelier for 48 nights this winter when the temperature dipped below 10 degrees. We opened a volunteer-run overnight shelter for 13 to 15 people, which was also difficult but heart-filling. And now we're walking with many who are leaving the hotels because they're not disabled enough, or because room cap has been reached, or whatever. But that also has been a difficult path. So what are we to do? I know that what you do here is also difficult. So how do we keep going? I mean, we could all be sitting home in our recliners, right, doing Sudoku or something. But we're here, and you have very little time to make your decisions and take actions on very complex matters that will have real impact on real people. So what will guide you in those decisions? Will it be fiscal soundness? Will it be constituent desire? Will it be political loyalty? What will guide you in those decisions? I think that I'm here to hopefully show that you could be guided by your true North Star, whatever that may be. And how do you figure out what that might be? The English Franciscan brother William of Ockham in the early 14th century had an overriding principle that's called Occam's razor. And as he put it, the answer that demands the fewest assumptions is likely the correct one. If his students wanted to discover the truth of something, he encouraged them to shave away as many assumptions, beliefs, or complicating explanations as possible. Great truth might well be mysterious, but it is never complex. The better answer is almost always the simpler one, was his conclusion. And much of what I'm saying here is from Father Richard Rohr, who's a Franciscan priest at the Center for Action and Contemplation. He points out that the prophets in our religious texts simplify all questions of justice, reward, and punishment by a simple appeal to divine love. God's infinite self-giving care is the only needed assumption. All else must be shaved away as creating needless and useless complexity, which only confuses the soul and the mind. If you shave away as many religious assumptions and judgments as possible and reground religion on one lone conviction, a divine love that can only be experienced and not proved by rational logic, then anything that gets in the way of this divine and absolute love must be shaved away. This is what prophets like Amos, Jeremiah, Ezekiel, and Isaiah have done in their teaching. The prophets and Jesus are the ones who have the courage to make God's way of loving action the source and the standard of all human morality and behavior. The question for all of us should eventually be, what is God doing and how does God act? We cannot dismantle the violence we find in the world if we allow threats and promises to be the overarching frame of any religious or secular creed. This dualism, the idea of an infinite God being caught up in the naive reward-punishment worldview, must be undone by deeper gospel of radical grace, unconditional love, and true respect, or nothing will ever change. The loving people I've met across the world seem to know that if it's love at all, it has to be love for everybody. As soon as we begin to parcel it out, we're not in the great field of love. So may your actions and decisions today be guided by your true North Star, freed from complexity, by a radical love for all who will be touched by the power of your actions today.
Would you please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Are there any announcements? Senator from Windsor.
Mr. President, I have an announcement. And I asked the body to listen to me about an experience that I had yesterday. So I ask for your grace in this moment. We normally don't use announcements for this purpose, but I wanted to share something that happened to me and a friend of mine yesterday. A constituent of ours named Mosen, an Upper Valley resident, a man who resides in White River Junction, Vermont, who is a university student, went in for a citizenship interview yesterday in Colchester, Vermont. We went in to meet with him beforehand around 10 a.m. We had coffee with him and his lawyer and his community of support at the Hampton Inn in Colchester. It was a beautiful sunny day. It was bright and gorgeous. He went in at 11 a.m. to that meeting. We heard that his interview had started. Within 20 minutes of that interview, while we were outside waiting for him to leave, he was handcuffed inside of that building. He was handcuffed by 3 men who were wearing face coverings, hoodies, who were unmarked in why they were taking him. They told him his green card had been revoked. They did not tell his lawyer or the friend he was with, Dave, where he was going, why they were taking him. And then vehicles showed up at the parking lot with men in sunglasses and hats who wouldn't tell us who they were or where they were taking him. And they took him physically in handcuffs from Colchester, Vermont to we didn't know where. This is a man who is an Upper Valley resident. This is our constituent. He invited me to come be supportive for him so he could practice answering questions about the Constitution. He went for a traditional citizenship interview, and he was taken off of the street in Colchester, Vermont, in plain daylight, in open daylight, gorgeous day, and no one could stop them, and no one could prevent them from doing this. He is now, thank goodness, being kept in Vermont because we know what happened to the last person is they were sent from their state and then they were sent to Louisiana. He was not given due process. His lawyer, his mother, his sister, the people who care about him in the Upper Valley were not given any information about where he was going or why he was taken. And I want the body to know this because this is going to happen to your constituents. This is going to happen to your people, just like it's happened to our people. This is a young man who is a Buddhist, who is peaceful, who is nonviolent, who attends and leads lay-led services at a Unitarian Universalist church in Heartland. This is not a bad person. This is not a criminal. This is a waste of our resources. And I wanted to share with the body that information today because if you are invited to go to a citizenship interview with a constituent, you better go to that interview because they are taking people. They are taking people off the street. This is not a joke. Like, this is happening in our state. This is not a joke. And I am very emotional and I'm very concerned. This happened within the last 24 hours. This happened yesterday. Yesterday he was free. Today he is not free. And we do not know why. This is unfathomable. This is happening in Vermont. If they can take this gentleman, they can take any person. They can take any person when they want, and they don't need to tell you where they're going. I want us as a body to think about what this means for our Constitution. Does it matter? Does the Constitution matter anymore when you can be abducted off the street? No, it doesn't matter anymore. And the last thing I'll just say is, obviously, this is a tense time in our nation, and I want to communicate that Mosen is, he is so peaceful, he is so kind, and when he was arrested and they took him in, obviously I was emotional. I was ready to I was ready to get in there. And his reaction to the whole situation was calm and peaceful, and he went in silence.
Are there any further announcements? Seeing none, we have a Senate resolution. Yes. JRS 22, joint resolution relating to weekend adjournment on April 18th of 2025. Listen to the reading of the resolution.
Resolved by the Senate and House of Representatives that when the two houses adjourn on Friday, April 18, 2025, it be to meet again no later than Tuesday, April 22, 2025.
And the question is, shall we adopt the resolution? Are you ready for the question? If so, all in favor say aye. Aye. All those opposed, nay. The ayes have it, and we have adopted JRS 22. We now have a bill for reference. S 124, an act related to miscellaneous agricultural subjects, appearing in the calendar for notice, but having failed to have met crossover, it is referred to the Committee on Rules per temporary Senate Rule 44A. We now have a Senate bill for introduction, S 151, an act relating to special motions to strike in an action arising from unpaid volunteer work for nonprofit organizations or governmental entities, introduced by Senator Clarkson. Listen to the first reading.
S 151, an act relating to special motions to strike in an action arising from unpaid volunteer work for a nonprofit organization or governmental entity.
Now you've heard the first reading of the bill, and it is referred to the Committee on Judiciary. Orders of the day. We are passing over S9. We will move on to third reading of S259, an act related to preventing workplace violence in a hospital. Are there any amendments before third reading? Senator from Washington.
Thank you, Mr. President. I was asked during second reading that if this bill pertained to reporting domestic violence, if the domestic violence occurs within the hospital, then it would be covered by this bill. If it occurs elsewhere, it would not be covered by this bill. I will cede to the members of the judiciary, but to the best of my knowledge, there isn't a series of mandated reporters for domestic violence as there is for child abuse. But it would only be covered under this bill if it occurred within the hospital.
Are there any amendments? Please listen to the third reading of the bill.
H259, an act relating to preventing workplace violence in hospitals.
Question is, shall the bill pass in concurrence? Are you ready for the question? If so, all in favor say aye. Aye. All opposed, nay. The ayes have it, and we have passed H259 in concurrence. We have on the calendar for action H10, which was passed by the House of Representatives. It was referred to the Committee What, no, sorry. It was passed the House on March 25th of 2025. It was referred to the Committee on Government Operations, which reports it is considered the bill and recommends that the Senate propose to the House that the bill be amended as it appears, starting on page 740 of today's calendar, and that with such proposal of amendment, the bill ought to pass. Listen to the second reading of the bill.
H10, an act relating to approval of amendments to the Charter of the City of Barry.
I recognize the senator from Chittenden Central, Senator Lehofsky, for the report of the committee.
Thank you, Mr. President. The City of Barry's charter does have an amendment from the Senate, and I know that is a little unusual to amend a charter. It's sort of a technical amendment, and it is on the first page of the bill. You will note that it reads, "The fiscal year of the city shall begin on the first day of July and end on the last day of June each calendar year." Our amendment strikes out "and end on the last day of June," because if we start the fiscal year on the first day of July and end it on the last day of June, there is actually a full day where the City of Barry has no fiscal year. And by eliminating "and end on the last day of June," they get a 365-day fiscal year. That is our amendment. The charter goes on to change the day of town meeting in the town of Barry. You will find that in two places. They are moving their town meeting from March to May. They've actually held their town meeting on the second day in May for the last 3, maybe 4 years. They have in their charter the ability to make the decision to move it, and they found greater voter turnout. We did ask whether there were concerns about voting this late, meaning their charters would have to wait a full year to make it through the General Assembly, and they said that they weren't concerned about that. This also eliminates the voting for school board and school commission, as they don't, it's really just cleanup. It is setting in charter what the practice in the town already is. And it eliminates the treasurer position, as presently the clerk serves as the treasurer in the town of Barry, or city of Barry, not the town. I know how important it is to get our cities and towns correct. The charter passed overwhelmingly, and it voted out of your Government Operations Committee on a vote of 5-0-0, and we ask for the Senate's support in making the changes, which are in large part technical and aligning the charter with what's already done in the City of Barry, and of course, making sure they have a full fiscal year. Thank you.
The question is, shall the Senate propose to the House to amend the bill as recommended by the Committee on Government Operations? Are you ready for the question? If so, all in favor say aye. Aye. All those opposed, nay. The ayes have it, and you have proposed to the House to amend the bill as proposed by the Committee on Government Operations. The question is now, shall the bill be read a third time? Are you ready for the question? If so, all in favor say aye. Aye. All opposed, nay. The ayes have it, and you have ordered third reading of page 10. That completes the orders of the day. Senator from Chittenden Central.
Thank you, Mr. President. Pending announcements, I would move that the Senate stand in adjournment until 1 p.m. Wednesday, April 16. And if I might lead off the announcements, there will be a very short Rules Committee meeting afterwards. So if the members of the Rules Committee could stay in the chamber, that would be great. Thank you, Mr. President.
Are there any announcements? Senator from Chittenden.
Senate Health and Welfare will meet at 10:05.
Senator from Lamoille.
Transportation at 10.
Senator from Washington.
Natural Resources will meet at 10.
Senator from Essex.
Thank you, Mr. President. Senate Agriculture will meet 15 minutes after the call of gavel.
Are there any further? Senator from Bennington.
Mr. President, the Education Committee will meet at 1:15 today.
Senator from Windsor.
Senate Economic Development, Housing, and General Affairs will meet promptly at 10 o'clock. However, before that, we have a birthday to celebrate. Okay, I think you may all think we're gathering to celebrate Thomas Jefferson's 282nd birthday, but no. On Sunday, our own treasured Secretary of the Senate had a birthday. And he shares it, obviously, with Jefferson. A man who oversees so much drama in our lives. Actually, a lot of drama happened on April 13th in history. John Wilkes Booth shot our President Lincoln. Butch Cassidy was born. Fort Sumner surrendered to the Confederate Army, and most importantly for me, two wonderful things happened. The Messiah premiered in Dublin on this date in 1742, a year before Jefferson was born, and the Metropolitan Museum of Art was founded in 1870. John Bloomer, we wish you happy dramatic birthday.
Obviously, the most important part was the birth of our secretary. Senator from Franklin,
Yes, Senate Judiciary will meet at 10:10. Thank you.
are there any further announcements? Senator from Chittenden.
Mr. President, I move the remarks of the senator from Windsor be journalized if she so chooses to write them down.
Senator from Chittenden has moved that the senator from Windsor's remarks be journalized. Are you ready for the question? If so, all in favor say aye. Aye. All those opposed, nay. The ayes have it, and you have moved to have the senator from Windsor's remarks journalized. Are there any further announcements? Seeing none, the senator from Chittenden has moved that we stand in adjournment until 1 p.m. on Wednesday, April 16th, 2025. Are you ready for the question? If so, all in favor say aye. Aye. All those opposed, nay. The ayes have it, and we've adjourned till 1 p.m. Wednesday, April 16th, 2025.